I do not feel at home in Encinitas and SDA. I constantly feel like everyone is judging me differently for my ethnicity. No one ever bothers to learn how my name is pronounced. I've been called exotic and a sand N-word multiple times. People call my country a shithole. A classmate once told me my culture was disgusting, only to later practice an art form my country created and popularized. I've been singled out by teachers who have made me cry many times in class. I can't help but pinpoint it to race, since no other white student was subjected to this constant calling out.
In school, I have been asked questions like, have you eaten a dog before? And phrases like, ching chong chang, or hey you Asian girl. Outside of school, I've been asked many times, where were you really born? Most people that I have encountered that have asked these things were non-people of color.
In 9th grade, I got bullied by my entire Spanish class for being Arab. They made fun of my last name every day and called me a terrorist or Osama bin Laden. It didn't end until I had a breakdown in class, hysterically crying, and my parents emailed staff multiple times.
Dark humor was always at the expense of ethnic minorities. I would hear history enthusiasts undermining the trauma of the Holocaust, joking about being a Nazi. My Jewish peer would laugh as they drew swastikas with her non-Jewish friends on whiteboards, handouts, and even their own skin. Everyone would laugh. After the joke was over, they would either erase the symbols or turn them into pretty squares. I heard a lot of Asian jokes that slandered our culture, the shape of our eyes, and the unfamiliarity of our names. This behavior was normalized, accepted, and even encouraged.
One day in math class, this guy kept referring to his Asian friend as white, which was really offsetting since he was a person of color too. When I asked him for clarification, saying, "Isn't he Asian?" he nonchalantly said, "I guess," and moved on. To me, this ignorant comment hurt because by failing to acknowledge Asians as people of color, it was a complete erasure of our trauma and struggles throughout history. In recent months, hate crimes against these communities have been in the news seemingly every single hour, but hatred against us is not new and has been happening for decades.
Combating racial discrimination is difficult because sometimes the solution is more complex than simply educating kids on why what they're saying is wrong. Kids were learning about the Holocaust in history class, but the ones who joked the most about the Holocaust, Nazis, and Jewish trauma were the history enthusiasts, who knew its significance, who knew the trauma, but made the comments anyway.
The ignorant things people say to me reflect the lack of emphasis on racial equality education.
Education starts with exposure.
Our administration could do many things to improve cultural education. Every school should have some multicultural group and events to educate,
or at least acknowledge national minority celebrations, like Black History Month, Indigenous Peoples Day, and more.
Stop tolerating it.
Just because you're not white doesn't mean you're exempt from being racist. I've had plenty of people of color call me or other students slurs or ignorant things. Please be mindful of other ethnicities.
When a person of color claims they are experiencing discrimination, listen to them the first time. Don't let it escalate.